This is my presentation on Acequias. Acequias are a common water system used to irrigate different crops in New Mexico. They are commonly used for irrigation of farmland and maintained by the communities which have formed them. I will be talking about the community aspects as well as some of the laws and history of Acequias. Things such as the origin of them, how they are currently used, and what regulations are put upon them. Acequias are a very big deal to the communities within them. The people who maintain the acequias get access to water. However, your water rights can be revoked if you do not help maintain the acequia. Now, many of us don't actually understand what water rights are if we don't live in the Midwest or Western United States, especially if we don't do agricultural stuff. Water rights are extremely important in the Western United States because they have limited water. The concept is sort of like whoever got here first gets the right to use the water for whatever they need the water for. So if someone is farming and their family has been farming since 1929, and then someone else whose family started farming in 1947, both need water and only one of them can get it, no matter the size of the operation of the farm from the 1940s, the farm from the 1920s will get priority over it. It doesn't matter if they are using their water for more crop or for more cattle or any of it. The 1920s farmer's family will get the right to use that water for whatever they're using it for, so long as it's considered productive. Some of what they consider productive is kind of dumb in my personal opinion, and a lot of the things they don't consider productive especially is really dumb. Said unproductive uses of water can include being an environment for the fish, being a spawn area for fish, being used for boating or kayaking, being used as a scenic backdrop, being used for algae cultures, being used for a fish farm, being used for fishing, and really most recreational activities. Now, while Acequias can't get around these laws regarding water rights, they can get around prior appropriation. So they can get around the law saying, I know you have a bigger farm than this dude, but this other dude's family has been here since the 1920s, so it doesn't matter that you are using more water or need more water because he was here first. The way they get around this is actually just by sharing the water, which is the entire point of the acequia. However, they can reallocate water from their acequia to another should they deem it necessary. Now, in 1846, New Mexico was a territory of the United States. The Spanish and the Pueblo Indians, till then considered Mexican citizens, had practiced using acequias for irrigation for more than 2 centuries. And a treaty in 1848 recognized that at the end of a war between Mexico and the United States, the rights and property of the former Mexican citizens would be respected by the United States. New Mexico would not reach statehood until 1912. However, before that, it already had multiple rules governing the use of its water. The treaty that was signed in the 1840s did recognize early on the importance of these acequias. And in 1851, legislation was passed to acknowledge them as a legitimate sources of water with customary and traditional rules regarding them. And by the end of the 19th century, they had been designated as quasi-public corporate entities. They could decide whether the water was unappropriated and available to be put to new use or not. They assigned preference to different usages in times of shortage and gave communities access to water not as a property right, but instead something you earned through helping maintain the ditch which the water ran through. However, in 1907, new water codes resulted in the loss of some of these powers that the Acequias previously had. And in 1940, it was decided that, quote, while a ditch which water is carried owned by the constructors as tenants in common, water rights acquired by the parties are not attached to the ditch, but the appropriate to the land to be irrigated. Water rights were thus understood to be owned solely by the individual parcentients, or in other words, the people using the Acequia for irrigation. This understanding existed until the state enacted an important law change in 1987. The way Acequias actually work is through gravity. When the water from melted snow falls off of a mountain into the ditch, it will naturally flow through the ditch into the town. As for the cultural importance of these irrigation canals, they are, as I said previously, a way to bring the community together and hold on to traditional values. These communities put a lot of work into maintaining these acequias and are very proud of them. And so they will have the children help because it is a way to teach the young people the value of helping your community. They originate with Spanish and Mexican roots. The Spanish brought over technology which helped the Pueblo Indians with irrigating their land, and the Pueblo Indians already had some systems of shared water through these ditches, but the Spanish technology was a great help in both creating and maintaining them. They are used for everything from agriculture to washing your clothing and drinking water. Really, anything that water can be used for on a small scale, they are used for.